based on what we're seeing. So I thought it'd be good to go through a game like what I'm seeing in the box, what I'm looking for, as far as checking or calling it. Now the first thing, philosophy-wise, we have, when I read that, I was saying, what is our philosophy? Now I know what our philosophy is, but it ain't putting words. It's like, we're gonna spread the ball to make them, defend the entire field. That's the first philosophy. Spread the ball to make them defend the entire 53 and the 30 yards of the field. And when we talk philosophy and goals and stuff, we have, we're not a big goals offensive team. We got 2 goals on offense, and that's to outscore the opponent and win. We don't have the 4 yards to carry, the 400 yards a game. We don't. That's just always been a philosophy in this offense with Rich that I've adapted since being there, is to outscore the opponent and win. We need to do that. But back to the philosophy, it's make the defense defend the entire field. Play with multiple tempos, which I'm going to talk about. I know that's one of the things y'all want to know. Play with multiple tempos. We always want to make our quarterback a dual threat. Run and pass, so they have to account for them. We want to execute the base plays. We want to make it as simple as it gets, but not predictable. When you see what we do, it's not a whole lot. We have certain run plays, certain pass plays, and that's what we carry every game. And we got some little bells and whistles that go with it, but that's pretty much it. And we want to get good at something, which is our zone, which is what I'll talk about a little bit. That's basically our philosophy. Now this is not offensive goals like for the team, what I'm about to talk about. These are goals, what we're trying to do in the spread. Not the philosophy. Goals of what we're trying to do. We're trying to create mismatches. We don't put this on the board anywhere. I'm talking about from a mental standpoint. When we sit around the table and look at a game plan and talk about the offense, we're trying to create mismatches. We're trying to get the balls in the hands of the playmakers, which everybody tries to do, but we think we can do that by spreading them out. We want to be in the shotgun as much as possible, so we can add the quarterback as a 11 guy. It's like a 12 man for the defense, but to make them account for the guy. We want to make the defense defend all skill, so they can't double our best guy. We want to make them defend everybody, with the way we do the bubble reads and all that stuff.
So you mean that both by skill level and how you attack them?
Exactly, yes. That's exactly right. We want to make the defense play in space, which the spread kind of lends to making them do that. Because I think, when I watch film, I watch the scheme, of course. I have to do that to do the game plan. But I think the number one thing that's missing in college football, right, in pro football, is tackling. And them guys block tackling out, they destroy their bodies in there. And when you got them in space, they're even worse. So the philosophy for us is to spread them out a little bit so they could play in space. Because when we were watching cut-ups last week, and the more you bring them in, the more they can almost make tackles by default just because of fitting right, So we try to make them play in space, make tackles. And then keep it simple for the offensive line. That's the goals. Keep it simple for the offensive line. Let us do all the work around the edges. What makes us go is our offensive line, to tell you the truth. But one of the reasons because we make it so simple for them that they could work the same things all the time. You could go to our practice the first day and the last practice before the bowl game, and you'll see the same practice every time from Coach Trickey. I mean, it's like them guys almost could walk out there and sleep and just do that same. Because we don't switch up a lot, So that's the philosophy and the goals to keep it simple for the offensive line. I'll tell you a little bit of history of the spread, and I know y'all do spread and all that stuff, but Rich did this at Glenville. I don't know how long ago, but it's been a while. And he had the mindset of I got to get, some big old offensive linemen just to get in front of people. He said he realized he was able to get a little skill from Florida and stuff like that, transfers from West Virginia, all that. But he just decided in the beginning, I ain't gonna have no athletic linemen, so I'm gonna get some big old boys and just tell them to get run over slowly. I mean, that truly was the philosophy. Just get in front of people, So as he evolved to doing this, he did that. And he went to Clemson. He did it. And it was when he went to Tulane first and did it. That's when I started looking at it a little bit. I was in high school then, and then he went to Clemson. By then I was at South Florida, and I started doing a little bit of the run game stuff there. I had the dilemma of I'm a too tight guy because that's what I played. That's what I'm a too tight guy with the second tight end motion and doing stuff and all that stuff. And then he went, he came to West Virginia, brought me with him, and then told me he wanted me to be a spread guy, which I believed in because we did a lot of that too at South Florida. But I wasn't completely sucked in to the true spread. So, and then I got, I've been coaching 10 years, I guess, by then, yeah. And I got an offensive line coach that's been coaching 30 years. He was coached at Mississippi State, Auburn, and he was straight two-back power. I got our quarterback coach, Coach Stewart, coached at Air Force and some of the, Navy. He was an option guy in North Carolina and all that. And then I got Coach Hand, who who was with Rich at Glenwood and Clemson, who's true spread. So I'm sitting around the room going, I'm hearing all of these guys talking, no, we need to be in two-back, no, we need to be in, all of that stuff. I'm just kind of telling you how, the philosophy and how to work. So the one thing the one thing I really wanted to do was, the head coach pays me, so he's, he wanted to be spread, and I wanted to be spread because we needed something that was going to give us an edge, that we could win consistently all the time in the biggies. That was for Virginia Tech, Miami left, Boston College, all that stuff. And we thought spreading people out, making them play in space and not loading the box up on stuff was the best way to do it. And it proved to be right. What I didn't want to do is be a finesse. I still wanted to have the attitude of being a physical football team. And a lot of people say you can't be spread and be physical at the same time, which is, we have kind of proven it was very untrue. We just as physical as a team running wishbone, like the old. I think we are as physical as it gets to say we spread people out and in the shotgun and all that stuff. So the one thing I want to do is not be, finesse. We didn't want to be a trick football team, a predominantly screen team, a predominantly, all that stuff. We just wanted to still run a base offense. So, by still being spread. So a lot of stuff you see and you're going to see on the tape, it's base offense. I don't know about the power because they ain't one of our top four plays. But we still run the power. We still, we're going to run the zone. The zone is about our first two plays. And then we're going to run some option stuff off of that. And we're going to run the trap. But it's base football plays. We're going to run, and a lot of times what we try to do is create a two-back offense from a one-back set. So that's kind of what we look at when we look at film, break people down, and go from there. So that's our philosophy. Just spread them out, make them defend the whole field, make them defend all skill. Just keep it simple for the offensive line. That's pretty much it. And stay physical. That goes without being said. We want to stay as physical as you can get. And not never be known as a finesse football team.
Kevin, what is your number one formation?
Our number one formation is Rip Max, what we call 20 personnel. We do everything by personnel, and it's 20. 2 back, 3 receivers. That's our number one right now. This is 2 tailbacks. We call them superbacks. That's not a fullback and a tailback. We're lucky. We have a guy that's a 250-pound guy that's like a tailback. So we kind of cheating there. But in the past, when we've had Avon Coleman and Quincy Wilson and KJ Harris, we've had some good backs. That's always been 2 tailbacks. So it's not a fullback and tailback. Because we want to be able to go to both sides. We was in this formation out of 500 something snaps. I think it was 500 something snaps. We was in 171 times. That's the first formation we get in right now. Number one. Our number 2 is Rip. This 2x2. This is a straight 2x2 set. And then
Is that 10
that's
personnel?
our 10 personnel. 11, 10. And then 20 and 10. That's our top. That's what we've done the most. And then after that, with 80 and 79 times, which is the same. Yeah, let me base it here. Grab a towel or something. Thank you. The third formation, and we do everything from the left hand. Every time we talk about these formations, I get in the habit of doing this without, you really know what I'm talking about. But our next formation is ram over. For us, it's a formation where it's just a 2x2 with a tight end. That's 11 personnel. That's our third formation. And then our fourth one is ram, 3x1. It's our top 4 formations. And the reason I explain, because you might hear me say ram over or line over sometimes, but line over is the opposite of ram over, but it's from the same hash. That's 2 different formations for us, even though it's the same personnel. Tight end boundary, tight end field. So I get in the habit of saying ram over, even from the right hash, where I literally mean tight ends into the boundary, lines over the other, So, but that's our top 4 formations right now.
Kellen, I assume at some point that with 10 personnel that you also get into 3x1? with
We
10
do,
personnel?
and we do that quite a bit. It's just, it depends on what we're seeing.
Sure.
We won't do it against odd teams too much, because they can always keep a guy weak on us, and then we get in the 3x1. And it just depends on what we're feeling. We do all our games out of this one, which you'll see on tape, the bubbles and the zone bubbles and all that stuff. Those are our top 4 formations. With the 20 personnel, 2 backstreet receivers by far is when we could do the most stuff out of. We could now we got 3, people in the backfield that could really do something with the ball and where we treat it.
How about if we talk about your use of motion and movement, and I'll just tell you how we think of it.
Okay.
And we're always looking for better answers, but we hardly do any motion and movement
Mm-hmm.
for the simple reason that when we installed this 8 years ago, the people we installed with, which was the Northwestern folks originally, they believed, and I to some extent believe, that we want the quarterback in the best position to ID the defense.
Right.
Number one. And number 2, we really like the quick count.
Right.
Not the only tempo, not the only count, but if you had to ask anybody who defends us, our number one thing is just we're going to go up there and go on the first call.
Mm-hmm. They asked us that. Northwestern visited us when we first got there. Because they had visited Rich and come, and they wanted to know why we didn't motion. So here's the basic reason why we don't motion. Now you may see 1 or 2 on here things we experiment with and all that, but it's to do triple option stuff, and we don't do it that much. We think it slows us down. Our philosophy on motion is it slows you down. Plus, as we get into some of the run game stuff, the worst thing can happen to us is, say we motion in from here to here, the worst thing can happen to us is we move them, because we going fast, we got things we looking for in particular, and I don't need a guy shifting on me. I don't need safeties shifting on me. We need to know where they are in our offense. That's why we don't motion, because they can go, they could be in an under front, and they can make a call to switch them to an over front. And it's just, that's we think it hurts us, motion, because they can adjust and our linemen need to know where they are. Now they do enough on their own with stemming and slanting and angling, so we sure ain't gonna, we don't want to help them by motion the guys, and it's frustrating to me because I used to want motion, and then I started saying, well, I'm the one backed off of it. I'm the one saying, no, it's starting to screw it up. Let's not mess with it. So for one of the same reasons, we want to go some quick tempo sometime, and we just don't have time. We want to line up, know where they are, and play ball. So our philosophy on motion is not to. The only way we would motion, and it'll be for a purpose on plays where it really don't matter how they adjust. I'm gonna get into this a little later, but if we want to be in a 3-by-1 and motion him here, we'll do some of that for our belly option stuff. But we don't even do that much. But that doesn't matter because we know how we blocking that, and they can shift and do anything they want. But we don't even get into that much. It just takes a lot of reps and time, and we'd rather stay away from it. So that's the philosophy on motion, Coach. We ain't doing
Very consistent with ours. Not to say it's perfect, but there's a lot of ways to skin a cat, but that's pretty much our deal. Let's talk about your cadence and tempos in terms of the one you use the most and the ones you use the least.
The one we use the most is we got 3 tempos. Regular, that's just straight on the line, fast, go, check. He's gonna check it, sideline. He's gonna do his thing. We use that the most, and that's just
which one we use?
The regular, just regular, no huddle offense,
Right.
and that's what we call it, regular, just regular. And that's just him coming up. He gets we do not personnel substitute. So we don't go, anything like a formation. We don't go from personnel group, then formation, and then play or whatever. We go tempo first. What tempo we're in. So let me give you we get up, we run a play. Well, first place from sideline is always fast. Go out there and run it. After that, the play is over. The linemen just go line up. The first thing all the receivers, running backs, people on sideline do is look at the formation. That formation tells us a personnel group. So once we call a formation, that's telling them what personnel group's on the field. It just ties in. We're gonna do both. So after that, we give the play. The back in our system has to know where to line up at. He's not giving anything. He's got to know from the play that's being called where to line up at. He's got to know that just from knowing the offense and all that stuff. So we get a play. The play is over, and we want to go a little bit faster. The next tempo for us is Indy. That's been that way forever. Indy. That's a little bit faster. It's just faster than everybody needs to know to have the urgency to get going. Indy.
Like 8,500?
Like Indy 500, yes. And that's everybody getting set. We still can check the play. It's just faster. It's just the urgency that is faster than a regular on the line. I mean, linemen getting set quicker, the receivers are getting set quicker, and we give the play after that, and they know to speed it up. And the quarterback may look at us like this on the regular tempo. You know what I mean? He may look to see what we're doing, but on the end, he's gonna go. You see the difference? He's gonna really look at us on the regular tempo. But when it's ended, he's just gonna take a peek to see if we want to change anything. And then the last one is really turbo. It's fast, turbo. And that means ain't no looking, ain't no checking, ain't nothing.
Is that 2 minute or is that?
No, we do it in the middle of a drive. Just, we get a play of a 12-yard play, 15-yard play. You see the lineman dragging. We go turbo, and we call a play. Now the key to the turbo tempo, coach, is when and all of these are memorized. You have 1 through 10 plays or 1 through 12 or whatever so we got Indy 1, Indy 2, Indy 3, and everybody has to know what that is. Same with turbo, except these plays can't, these plays have to be safe plays because ain't no checking. We are running the play. You know, you don't want to call a 3x1 zone turbo because they can all of a sudden, you know, be an odd front and drop a weak safety on you, so you're outnumbered. So the turbo plays, you got to take a lot of time to figure out which plays in the offense. This is what we do. We take a lot of time to figure out which plays in our offense are safe no matter what. You know, so them the only time we go turbo play. I don't care what you and what you're running. These 8 plays will be good against anything, and that's why you can't have the same with Indy and turbo.
Turbo, you stay in the same personnel with those 8?
No, we'll switch it. We'll go. This is what we do. We'll go. You know, right now, turbo, whatever. And now the next thing that comes up is formation. Them guys already know I'm sprinting on getting set, but we will substitute. It's still, you know, by the time they, you know, get back and get down, we already got the play ran and ready for their official step away. You know, this is one of the reasons they stopped you know, they started that rule about
To the defensive
giving the
stance.
defense time. And it was frustrating us because the first couple of years we played Rutgers, I mean, they couldn't keep, I mean, they had 13, 14 people on the field, and sometimes they had 9. And, you know, they started complaining. So the next year, and I don't think it's fair, the next year, Oceano, he's smart though, when they changed the rule, we would be standing up right here on the ball with the play, ready to run it, and they wouldn't have a defensive guy. They would have maybe 3 guys on the field. He was smart. And he would literally stand here with all his players here and wait till about 15 seconds was left on the clock and then call the defense, and then they'll get out there and line up. And the official would stand over the ball and say, well, you got to give them ample time to substitute. You know, because the rule states it's reasonable time to substitute. Well, what's reasonable? We had that big argument with the official. What's reasonable? But he was smart. So,
Let me ask you something about that. Just as rules interpretation. You know, we had the same issue when they first changed the rule, and the way it was explained to us is if you're not exchanging personnel groupings, then you can go as fast as you want.
That's true. So that's what you're exactly right. That's what I was going to get to. That's why when sometimes we want to go jet, a turbo, or Indy, or slow, 4-minute offense, or whatever. It's, you know, we try, you know, you can't always do it. We try to stay in this, you know, or this, the opposite line over, just for that rule. Or we try to, you know, it's hard for us, but we try to get this guy to be able to play the slot a little bit so we could just go to that 20 personnel all in the same drive. We still haven't gotten to that point yet because the guy we could bring in to do that, we try to make this guy and this guy the same guy. But it's tough for us because the other guy that plays this spot is so good, you know, so we have to substitute, we got to live with that. And these guys are just, you know, I ain't gonna call them unathletic, but they can't go out there. The guy we could put there would be better, so we just live with it. But that's what you hope you can get to. We just haven't been able to do that. So, but we get away with it because we sub so fast. I mean, as soon as the play over, I'm calling the next one. You know, so as soon as it's over, we get in there and get set. Half the time, they don't even, you know, sometimes they realize we can sub, sometimes they're just trying to get a call. You know, defense coach looking down at the sheet. You know, hopefully you got somebody watching personnel, but as we complained more, they started stepping away quicker, saying that's reasonable time. So now as a defensive coordinator, you better get your people out there on the field, or, you know, you got some on size, too many men, all that stuff. So, you know, it's paid off for us now because they're starting to step away a little bit more, a little bit quicker. But if we can, we'll stay in that same personnel. But sometimes we need the other personnel in to run a play. So it's not an automatic for us. It's just whatever we decide to do.
Now let's talk about how much, what the differences in cadences. And for us, it's green, yellow, or red. Green is first color, all right? Or basically set go, all right? So there are times the play's gonna go no matter what. Other times, the quarterback will look to the bench, give him 2 plays, he'll look it over, call a play, and then go, set, go. All right? Yellow, which we haven't had an easy time really making a commitment to, is just set, go, go, just to get, they're leaning on the first one because you're using the first cadence so much.
Right.
And then the third one is set, go, audible or dummy audible, set, go. And my question is, how much of just you going up and going set, go is it, and how much is the quarterback making a determination and calling audible and going to a...
I was a little bit different because our quarterback don't say anything but the play and a ready call. That's all he don't. We don't have a cadence. He's the communication guy. The play's over. The first thing he do is look. He see information. He goes rip, 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 rip. He's just directing traffic. And then the next thing he gets is the play. He makes his code calls and all that stuff to the lineman. He makes his call. And then after that, once we ready to roll, all he says ready. The center's calling our cadence. The center looks around, get ready. When he's ready to snap, he raises up and he yells go and snap. That's how we've always done it. He set the quarterback, so it's a little bit different. Our center is the guy that says we ready to play. All our quarterback goes is ready. Now we change the indicator up all the time. We may have a disc one week, we may have a disc one week, we may have a disc one week. So in any particular time, this could just mean, because last week it might have been this, but this might, they might think that's what it means. They start shifting, it's telling, and then we do the real one. So we have about 3 or 4 different indicators to let the center know we're ready to play. Plus he's going to verbalize ready. Once he's ready, it's on the center at that point.
All right, but on each play, to let the center know when he can snap it, it's not just ready, it's whatever indicator.
It's whatever indicator. Because the reason we say ready is because he could still be looking up, pointing the mic out. You know what I mean? That's telling him, okay, get your head down and see my indicator. Or whatever it is. You know what I mean? So, now, if we were to, because we have, back like the first year, we talked about it, but we really never did it. We really never had the quarterback call the cadence out. Now under center, it's ready, set, go. Ready, set, go. Now we do go into center some, more than you might think. But it's just ready, set, go. That's it. Now what helps us is the center have a couple of things he could call out. You tell the line it ain't on the rhythm right now. Wait to see the ball. That's how we stop people from jumping the ball or waiting for his head to come up, or we have still calls where he's just gonna do all that, go, and we don't even have a play yet. We have where we go. This is how we offset people getting a rhythm on the center or the indicator or anything. We may call like phantom. We give a signal for phantom. We go like phantom. Okay? That means you guys don't even have a play. I mean, the quarterback's yelling stuff out. He's doing all of this. He's doing this. He's going ready. Quarterback's going, go! They don't even have a play. All they got is information. That's how we offset. And when you're going fast, you just line it up. So that's how we offset the 2 on 2 or on 3, or, you know what I mean? And he's told to snap it if they come across.
So Calvin, ultimately, when the quarterback says ready, will there ever be the set go command, whatever the indicator it is for that week, dummy indicator, will he verbally say set go?
He won't say nothing.
Quarterback doesn't say nothing, he just snaps the ball.
Quarterback says nothing past ready.
So it's a solid snap count.
It's a solid snap count.
Okay, do you hold
Except-
hands when you throw
No,
it? Or do you just
no. It's a rhythm. It's the tackles are here, and after ready, believe it or not, and we have had very minimal false start. After ready, he counts 1,001 and go. So that's about the timing of him doing that. And you see it. I mean, it's just when you see boom, they go. So the center has a couple of calls he can make to let the lineman know. The running back, the receivers, and everybody else is off ball movement. They're off ball movement. So the only 5 guys that it matters to is the line. So he have a couple of calls he can make to the line to let them know, wait guys, I ain't snapping this on the rhythm. You see, now they got to kind of peeping at the ball. So every now and again when he thinks people's getting jumps on us, he make a couple of calls to let the line know, sit still for a minute. You see what I'm saying? He goes like, you know, come up with anything. You know, he just make a couple of calls. We got about 2 of them he can make. A couple of calls to just tell the line, don't be jumping here. I'm gonna hold the ball. Because what people do is they look at it and they study it, and they try to time it up.
Right.
And this ain't no secret. It's every time his head come up, the ball gets snapped. So now then he pops that head up and don't do nothing. Then the other way, like I told you, is he'll pop his head up and say go and everything, but they don't even have a play. You just say phantom, phantom, phantom. That means run the whole thing. Like you ever see no huddle teams play, and I know you guys know huddle, but I'm talking from our perspective. You ever seen us play? You know, you may see a whole lot of stuff going on, see this, see that, and then everybody just stop and look again. We haven't had a play call to start with. We're not checking. We just never had a play call. So now you're looking to see what we're gonna run.
Does phantom have to come from the sideline or if the center?
It comes from sideline. It comes from me. Yeah, it comes from me. Cause it might be tough time during the game. I need a little minute to think. I just say phantom, So he gonna do all that, and I just look at it, and then say okay. So that's to help me too sometimes. All right, let's slow this thing down. That's the easy way out too. When coach yelling at me, come on, give me a play. I go phantom. We see the phantom, so just give me a second to get my thoughts together here. So it's a little different. And people we've talked to always say, golly, you trust that son to make that. It's just something we do.
Kevin, I just missed something on the phantom call. At what point in a phantom deal did he get a ready call?
After he go through his thing, rip. And then he actually makes the phantom call.
Right.
He might say anything after that, but he already told him phantom. Now, let me backtrack a little bit. The running back.
So phantom can be a ready call, but that's a bogus ready.
Yeah, they go through the whole thing. I mean, ready,
including ready,
and go. They go through the whole thing. Yeah, I'm sorry, Coach. This is a whole. We won't make the go call on phantom.
But you will make a ready call.
We will make the ready call.
Gotcha.
Oh yeah. Now, everything else stays. It don't mean nothing. I was just telling the center to go ahead and go through his progression of looking up. Now,
And this is basically buying time for either the quarterback or you to make the appropriate play
yes.
once they set their defense.
Once they set their defense. Now, remember, the receivers and running backs are taught and told that they can't rely on any verbalization. None. Not even the back. Now he gets an advantage because he's standing right next to the guy. But not to rely on any verbalization. So when they see the phantom call, you see what I'm saying? When they see the phantom call, they just waiting to look to see the play. They just lining up because we give rip, phantom. So they just lining up and just going through the whole thing like they got. The only guys you got to verbalize it to is the lineman to let them know we ain't got to play, guys. Just sit tight. So you see them big old tackles just sitting there. They look like they ready to play, but they ain't worried about nothing until they hear the call. You see what I'm saying? So that's how we do. But since we don't have a cadence, that's how we have to offset changing it up. Something that's what I'm. Later on I'm gonna talk about this answer sheet we do, and one of the categories is changing cadence. You know, and if we think people jumping us, we got 16s right here we can go to, just to change it like that. You know, and that's some of them that I'm talking about now. So that's our cadence and progression, and you know how we do that.
Okay, my next question is going to be a formation question, and that would be why 20 personnel slash what we call Veer Flex? Why is that your number one formation?
For me, it's because it gives us everything I'm trying to do with our offense. It gives us a power run game because you have to keep at least 6 in the box for this, sometimes 7. It keeps them spread out. Let's do this first. Let's do what most people play against us. They walk the back halfway out, and then they try to do this against us. They try to have a guy that can fall weak for the weak side run game. And they try to have a guy that can be a gray area guy for the strong side. Now, the next look we get is they put either the weak safety here on the back and play the cover 3 or cover 1 look, which we absolutely love with the single high safety. So the why is because it keeps them spread out, but you still have a power run game. That's the reason why I like this as a, you know, you're not, you know, remember the philosophy of keeping them spread out? Well, this kind of helps us give us the best of both worlds, I believe. Plus, since we make this guy, them account for this guy, they got 3 heads to look at here, and still got a kind of spread look. You know, and I know, you know, you can do the same thing with Ram. That's probably why that's our next formation, the 11 personnel. And you can do the same thing with line over. But it's not quite the same because of when we get to the run game of why. But that's why, because I feel like it gives us the best of both worlds. It also gives us the best of the tempos because we could do so much out of it. We could go jet. We could go turbo. We can go Indy. We can go, you know, regular. Because we're safe to both sides. And the philosophy of our offense on the field, blocking scheme and all that, is to take care of, say we're running weak, is to take care of these 5. Let the quarterback take care of him. And we're getting that when we talk about running game. How we always have a number for a number. They got 40 this side, they got 40 this side, because this is a gray area guy. We could do so much out of this because we have 5 for 5. Remember, we count him as his guy. We count him as this guy. We have 1 for 1, 1 for 1. And we still got all kind of play actions and throw game because he could be the check guy. He can still get out. You can still release 4. And you can just do so much from the formation without and be protected. You can protect this guy or you can protect this guy. If you protect him, he's the free releaser. You protect him, he's the free releaser. You know, sometimes when you're in the 11 personnel, they could bring 4 weak if the back's strong. They could bring 4 strong if the back weak. You got to make a decision whether to block him or release him, be hot. We're not a hot throwing football team. That's the difference probably with us and a whole bunch of people. We protect simply, we throw simply. That's kind of obvious, you know, because we run the ball pretty good. But we could. We are very efficient throwing the ball. We don't have, 300 yards a game, but we're efficient when we throw it. Remember, since we want to go fast, we want to be simple. But yet, if you watch us, which when we get into that, it's the offense is designed to make you wrong. You know what I mean? So it's simple from our standpoint, but really not defend. The biggest, and I'm good friends with the guy at Georgia. You know, we knew each other when he was at Central Florida, South Florida. Good, really good guy. And he said the most difficult thing they had to defend is they didn't know when we were doing what. Like, what I mean, I don't mean just simply what offensive play you're going to run. They couldn't understand how we were so perfect with the play calling. Because it seemed like everything you called, man, it just came out on us. But the truth of it is, you were going to tell us what to do from your reactions, which is I'm going to get into. And I don't mean, I hate that term, we're going to take what the defense gives us. I mean, that's just, we're not doing that. Because what we're doing is reacting to what you're doing once the ball snaps. Because of the built-in stuff.
Absolutely. Now, Calvin, obviously, that's one of the reasons for your personnel. If you're not going to be a hot / site adjust team, 20 personnel takes care of most of that.
That's why it powers out number one. Because it gave us the most run game. It gave us the most play actions type stuff we could do off of it. And then it made us solid protection-wise.
How many formations would you, on the average, go into a game with, Calvin?
You know, I'll never put a number on that. What I do is I see, this is how I break down a film. And then maybe I can get to the answer. You know, everybody watch the formations, you know. Everybody doing that watch formations. Which is we watch on, you know, we got certain ones we watch on Sunday, certain ones. But the first thing I want to do is see what's the best formations for us to run our zone and our belt. Then I base it off that. Honestly, what's the best formation? Because this is what we got to run to win the football game. You know. So then, if it's 20 and 11, I start everything from 20 and 11 personnel. And if we don't, if 12 personnel ace, you know, is not good against zone, ace is just not in. It might be good for, you know, something else, but if it ain't good for those two plays, and I get arguments every week, man, we could line up an ace and run. Coach, it ain't in the plan, don't worry about ace. I'm telling you, it ain't in the plan, don't worry about ace. Because then you're all over the place. You know, that's just my philosophy. It's just, you know, and then sometimes they talk me into, okay, at least line up in it to run this one trick play, which is all right. At least we're not spending a whole lot of time that week trying to make the zone fit on ace when it just ain't good. So we start with this is how I do. I start with our main two plays. What do we need to be in to run the zone rebound? And then everything comes from that. So some weeks, to answer the question, Coach, some weeks it may be 6 formations, some weeks it may be 7, some weeks it may be, but it ain't no particular. I would say on average, we go into a game with about 6 formations. On average. Because anything, I mean, I remember the first, I remember the first couple of years, you looked at one of our game plans, you couldn't call all them plays in a year, in a season. You know, so I started looking, saying, man, you know what? I'm tired of repping this stuff when we never calling the game. I'm tired, you know, let's be smart. We know what we're going to do. Let's get our best 5-6 formations and see what we could do off of it, and then be simpler more than, you know, boy, we be pretty on the board now. We get on that chalkboard and beat anybody. Cause we got all these formations, but we was wasting time. So we just narrowed it down to what personnel information we're going to use. And part of that was my fault, because but I've corrected that. So we start with that, Coach, and so I would say about 5 or 6.
Kel, let's talk personnel then. The way you look at things, are the things that you do the best and the most, and what you really like. Is your particular quarterback a running back first or a quarterback first?
No, he honestly, no, he's quarterback first.
There's no recruits in the room, Kel.
Yeah, no, I'm being honest with you. He's a quarterback who can run. That's the big. You know what? After the Georgia game, I ain't gonna keep picking on Georgia. It's just the last game. It's on my mind. William Martinez go, come here. He didn't know that boy could throw like that. I said, well, I don't know how you didn't, Willie. He's been doing it all year. You know what I mean? It's just, I'm going to tell you what's happening with our football team right now. I'm going to be completely honest with you. I give you the history. Because I defend myself on this all the time. We get there in 2000, whatever year that was. 2001 something. We've been there 5 years, so 2000. Because I remember when I was taking my plane trip up there, they were saying the planes was going to crash. Remember I told you I went on New Year's Eve?
Right, yeah.
And I was scared to death. They said all planes going to crash at midnight, whatever. But, you feel that? the new millennium or whatever. So we get that, and we got 5 big old horses right here, and then some very good tailbacks, and you know these guys are okay. Well, over the years, these receivers they have gained our confidence more, but we really didn't have a lot of confidence when we first got there. And here we was running spread offense, 4 receivers on the field all the time, with some average guys out there, and it just wasn't going, you know. So we had to develop that run game and stuff like that. Our mindset, I guess it's my fault, but our mindset when we spread people out is to still look for the easy, quick throws, quick hitches, slants. You know, they want to load the box up on us, take advantage of it, throw against the numbers, you know, run with the numbers, throw against the numbers, all that. It's me. I just don't have the confidence yet, you know, to just, especially when nobody's stopping us running. That's what I'm dealing with. That's me. I was getting into it with the receivers coach yesterday. He said, man, we need to open this thing up. I said, Bush was 11-1 a lot, you know, because he said, we need to. I said, but anyway, that guy, our quarterback, is not thought of as a runner first. I swear to you. He's a quarterback. He just happened to be pretty dog athletic.
Let me ask you, let me put it this way then. Your quarterback has to be a good runner.
He has to be a good runner, yes. But I'm going to tell you this. That's, and I do believe this. He don't have to be Pat White or Rasheed Marshall, who we had previous years, to be effective. He just can't be
Peyton Manning.
Peyton Manning. Right, that's a good, because we had, the kid that started before Pat White was just as good with everything except his run may be 12 yards and Pat may be going 80. But it's, you know, when Adam was in there before he got hurt, we moved the ball just as effectively. But the difference again was Adam may end up 12 yards down the field, where Pat might make one move and be gone. That's what the difference is. Or the Willie Dancer at Clemson, as opposed to the Sean King at Tulane. But he was still very effective in it. So, you know, people say all the time, we don't have a quarterback like that. You don't need to have one like that. You just need to have a smart kid who could make his reads and make the right decision. Because if he's making his read right, he's mostly running on air anytime, anyway. You know what I mean? That was the dilemma we had. The dilemma we had was Adam Bagneri was a kid that was hands down, at that time we thought, the better thrower. And he was very adequate running the ball. The difference was those 12 yards or those 50 yards. You know what I mean? So we was just as fine with Adam. You know, Pat didn't start that. Adam got hurt. You know what I mean? So now we got the best of both worlds because Pat can throw it adequately enough. But he also, you know, he can really go. So, no.
You're just obviously going to call less true quarterback run plays. The guy who's not a great runner.
Yeah, for matter of fact, I used to, what's that? Wait, say it again, I'm sorry.
You're obviously going to call less true quarterback non-read runs, where it's just built-in quarterback runs. Say you're 3rd and 3 or you're on the 8-yard line. You're going to call less of those, or you don't care?
I don't care, because it's if we line up in, the Rams, say Rams was one of our formations for the week, which they don't really change that much week to week. And say we run the power, and we getting a 3 and a 7, and then we getting that gray area guy. They may have a free safety kind of trying to drop weak on us, because of the quick game to the X. You know, a lot of people hang around backside on us here. Plus, because of the quarterback P-fake run game stuff and the straight zone, we always get a guy hanging around weak side somewhere in some form or fashion. So you have this right here, and you got the free safety, over the top, strong safety, and then you call that gray area guy. That's the guy we got to control the most, the gray area guy. If we run power, the best way for us to run power is to block it the same, make a mic call so he can pull for the mic. But the only way we can take care of this guy is one of two ways. Bubble the power off the snap, which is our, you know, or just say don't even chase him, you know, go get the safety. Now he has the Sam, quarterback power. he just goes right now for the Sam, and he just take a jab step and go. We'll run that if it's Pat or Adam. So that's what I mean, not necessarily. It's the defense, how you're lining up. The best play for us is not, the other way we run that same play is to go what we call power flip. You know, one back power game. Where we step like zone, almost like the old dart play. Now, whereas he's handing this ball off, we do a two raise. He reads the end, or if we call bubble, he reads the bubble. This guy steps up, he won't hand it. He throws the bubble. See me? If he expands for any reason, then he hand it off. Now we don't have to handle him because we still blocking the mic here, and now he gets it and come back on the play. So it don't matter, you know, if Pat's in there, Adams in there, for us to run that quarterback power.
Let's just talk, that makes perfect sense to me. Let's talk about the bubble read. Basically, you got the extra guys sneaking in the box here, and you're going to control them with bubble screen call, bubble screen check. Let's talk about the bubble screen read
After
versus
seeing
the guy halfway in the box.
After seeing what's the best formations, the next thing I look at is how do I control these two guys can change the game more than anybody on the field against a spread offense, if you ask me. Against our defense, which is put in the defend the spread, and our defense, when they go straight stack, which is again designed to stop the spread offense and the spur, is these two guys. So the first thing I do is try to figure out how can we not let them two get away with being half defenders. We can't let they used to kill. At first it was that these guys almost stopped them by themselves because we were refusing to throw the bubble screen, again because of confidence, and it was just half man in the box, always in the run game, so forth. So the zone read is basically just the play itself, no matter what play it is. It's basically, if you can't get to him, and you can't get to him, which he probably can get to him quicker because it's into the bottom. You see, we're on the left hand side. If that's the guy that can screw you in the run game. So if we can't get to him, we might as well not even try to block him. We might as well have an outlet to play off of him. So when we run, say, zone, and we come up right there, that's the quarterback's guy. So when he gets to this point right here, he makes a decision whether to hand it off because he's stepped up the field, right? Whether to pull it because he's chasing and head right to where he came from, or then depends on what he's doing, whether to throw the bubble or hit the alley.
My question is then, obviously, everyone in the world's going to read the end man line of scrimmage just like you talked about. How do you, A, make the determination to throw the bubble, and B, how do you get the quarterback to be good enough in the peripheral read to be reading two guys?
Well, he's reading one, this is the answer. He's only reading one pre-snap and one post-snap. Pre-snap, he have the option based on that guy just to throw the ball.
To check the bubble, sure.
Just throw it.
Okay.
Nobody else knows. Not even the back. He just take it, throw the ball. Now I think they cheat on me. I think.
So you're not really reading him post-snap.
No.
You're just using the bubble, a play-action bubble.
Yeah, but the line's blocking. So the line don't even know he's throwing bubble. The back don't even know. He's supposed to, but them guys lazy. They don't look all the time. But if we call zone bubble, that's the quarterback's decision. Now we have three things we can give him if he looks. I don't like doing it. I like him to learn to do it. We can give the ball, throw the bubble, or just read it. We can tell him that. I could tell him, but I don't like doing it. I want him to get a feel and do it himself. So the pre-snap read is whether to throw the bubble or not. He just decides to do it.
All right, before you go any further, same page. Obviously, 8-man front teams, you got a lot of guys bobbing and weaving in and out.
Right.
Now, they start to get you on the rhythm in that they know if you're half in the box, you're going to check the bubble, or you're going to check the 3-step slant, or what have you. My question is, how much of that do you get? How much do you get they dick with you? We have a team in our league that really just does an outstanding job
Yeah.
of giving you some pre-snaps and taking it away.
Yeah, a lot. We get a lot of that, you know, just the walking around, the stemming, the jumping in and out. That is not a pre-snap read. You know, through film study, we'll tell them, hey man, that pre-snap read is going to be, they're going to show you one thing, give you another. But, so that's a if they're moving around a lot and he ain't sure, it's a post-snap read. Now, once he does this is not a 2-man read, it's actually a 1-man read if he don't feel comfortable throwing the pre-snap bubble, the pre-snap read bubble. If he don't feel comfortable, he waits to the post-snap, read the end, and in his mind, he's running. In his mind, he's running. The only way to make him throw the bubble is once he gets that read and he starts and he sees him, now he thinks bubble.
All right, so you'll actually mesh it, read and man a line of scrimmage. You may take one step and pop the
We
ball.
may take 3 steps. I mean, he has took off like he's running to see the guy and still throw the bubble. And that's I mean, it's good stuff because it makes them wrong.
Can't be right.
Can't be right. But when we work a perimeter drill, which I actually brought a copy of our perimeter drill in practice to show. We work a drill, but I don't know if we was doing all this. We work a drill where it's just these guys to show him the 3 different looks of the, you know, no linemen, no, just perimeter people. We just work, you know, we put out fullbacks who don't practice a whole lot. We put them as the end, we put another fullback here, and we just give them all on one of your questions about the exchange. We go over every scenario on what he possibly can get.
Tell you what, I would like to just jump right to film. If you have any of the read bubble, were you throwing that on the run? When I say throwing on the run,
I'm trying to think of any on the tape. It happens in practice all the time. I don't know, but I can show you the mechanics of it because most of the time against us, this guy's still wide enough where he was able to just go.
okay.
You know what I mean?
Do you ever get in a game where, you know, obviously most people are going to try to control it with squeeze scrape with the inside linebacker, but do you get to a point against 8-man fronts where they try to control the quarterback run by sneaking the extra guy in the box, that you actually did throw the bubble on the run?
On the run, no, that's what I mean. I don't think none's on this tape. I don't know if I grabbed any of those to throw on that. It might be, but I'm not sure.
Did it happen in the season?
It did happen in the season, yes.
Okay.
Yes. Yes.
Now, do you think that's worth repping in practice? You think that's
I do. I'm gonna be totally honest with you. It makes them. I'm telling you, it makes them wrong. It just makes them. They think, oh, we got it now. We got the grit, and here you go, boom, you're still throwing the ball.
now, my only question
No.
is, if you're going to do it that way, does the number 2 receiver have to delay more than he would on a called bubble?
No,
He
we
just goes.
just tell him to come out hard. You know, if he's but before he gets to the number, he comes out hard first 3 steps,
Yeah.
and then he just starts throttling.
He's throttling if he doesn't get the ball right away after 1 step.
Exactly.
Okay.
He just throttles. And we tell him to take that Nike swoosh as his path. How that Nike swoosh goes. I was seeing Coach Campbell. I said, man, he said, look at it, it's a Nike swoosh. I never heard of it. He's right though. Coach, let me find it, because I have to look for that. You want to look at the bubbles.
Put some more water while you're getting this.
The thing I want to really look at is
Yeah.
the bubble off the mesh.
Mm-hmm. I put some of those on there.
And then my next question is, do you have a counter to that? This is something we do off the mesh, where instead of number 2 run a bubble, he's gonna start like he's gonna block the main laterally adjusted open, but inside, and then just run a flat.
Yeah, we do that. That's part of the neck
Kind of the
stuff.
opposite of bubble.
Yes, yes. That's the difference here.
By the way, Kelly, you guys field turf, or what kind of turf?
That field turf, that artificial grass stuff.
Yeah,
with the pebbles.
do you know the brand name, just because we're putting it in the summer?
I do not, but I could call and find out. We just got to put it on indoor too. Before we start playing like
Is
that.
it good? I mean, do you slip it all? Yeah, okay.
No, injuries. I mean, first we put in, we had no major injuries. I mean, this thing is unbelievable. Yeah, I'll get that.
Sean, you guys didn't have much slippage, right?
No, it was great.
Compared to Penn, we thought that your surface was a lot better.
What were you? What did y'all have that?
At Columbia University.
Yeah. Okay.
Coach, when you run it off the read, is that that's a long time for the wide out outside to be locked on? I mean, if you're not playing a man team, you can't run them off. I mean, those guys, do they struggle with holding that block outside? For that
They
long?
do, except if it's cover 2, if it's pressed, the receiver ain't moving much.
Yeah.
He gonna take a 1 step and just kind of hang right around the hash. So when he do catch it, he's just up the hash.
Gotcha.
You know.
Number one, Kelvin, correct me if I'm wrong, but you're not going to see much cover 2 when you're doing throwing that.
No, it would be.
Number 2, you're going to see a bit of robber, so he may be 9 yards
Right,
deep inside.
exactly. That's exactly right. And the other thing we do with it is sometimes to change it up, instead of making a bubble call, we make a different call and crack it with the Z and do the same thing with the bubble.
Mm-hmm.
You know, it's game plan.
I'm gonna leave the guy catching the bubble one-on-one in the corner.
Right, exactly.
Yeah, I got you.
I had put all the screens on one tape that I was going to show you why we run certain screens because of our linebackers' eyes on zone and belly. So we can come back to these screens.
All right, so you called read bubble.
Okay, that's a pre-snap form right here. He got the option to hand his ball. Yes, I'm sorry. We call read bubble.
Now, is this read bubble or just play action bubble?
This is that's what I'm trying to figure out. I'll tell you from up front. Let me see. No, this is straight belly bubble. We run the belly play. The line's blocking a belly. They don't care what's happening with the receiver. But this right here was a pre-snap form right here. Let me see if we had one before this one. That's the quick speed. Okay. So this is the first one. Yeah, right now his mindset is on the gray area guy, the gray area defender. That's the guy we got to control the most here.
Those are the old.
So his pre-snap reads telling him right now, I'm gonna pick this ball into a ball. The back's gonna go through his steps just like he's getting it. I mean, he don't know if he's getting it or not. I tell him to expect to get it every time. This is a pre-snap, throw the ball. That kid was a freshman. He's gonna be pretty good. The slot guy.
That's cover 2, what you're talking about.
Here's a lecture for you.
And now this is what he's told right here. He's told against a hard press, now this is not hard press, But even this, and I think this is the worst.
Case of
I hate this. Yeah, But here he's supposed to not get too far outside their hands, maybe a half yard. In case he do roll up, he can hit the alley right here. This kid, his first game of the year, he's a freshman, too wide. That's too wide for this coverage. All we want him to do is catch this ball somewhere right around in here, and then hit it, run away from him. Now, normally when we run this action takes care of this back. So you're gonna see later on in the season, we actually changed his path, which I'll talk about when I talk about the belly, to right near hip of the center. I mean, he dives in there like the true belly. That holds him just about every time.
Not to get too far ahead of ourselves, Calvin, but belly is just another zone play, different, wider or not.
It's tighter, yeah.
Tighter.
Zone is off tackle. With crossover steps, belly is open steps, no crossover, just a different anymore. And we play them off each other because they fit for zone, here comes the belly, fit for belly. That's our main two deals. But that's a pre-snap by Adam right now. Adam's trying to pick that ball up and throw it right now. He sees it. Now right here we can give him 3 checks. Give it. When he looks, let me look at.
Now, you're automatically reading, instead of the end man here, you're reading the outside linebacker because of the technique of the defensive end.
Because of the 4-eye?
He's a BI.
His eyes are
player.
still here. We tell him to see the exchange through his vision. We've worked to that now to where we've repped it so much he can see the exchange. And I'll go with the tackle techniques in a minute on when to lock it and when not to lock it. And we give this guy a call on our run game to say don't screw nothing up, just go. Don't throw our reads off, just go. If we got belly call this way, just go. Now, if they want to exchange, we'll handle all of that. I'll go over that about the linebacker, D and straight. Well, we just tell this guy just to go. You know what I mean? So, and then sometimes we don't make the call so he can actually read it out. He has this, but if he sees this, he's thinking, this is the easy one, it's 4-eye. It's when this guy's still in the 5 and he's cheated a little bit, and then he slants inside. Right. And I'll go over that technique, how we teach him to, as soon as he's it's a little bit of a gray area form. It really is, because this guy, he done got it. We're in the middle of the field and he should be split a little bit more.
Yeah.
But he done screwed it up because now this guy on the snap can run right now and play man.
Mm-hmm.
Plus he got pressed up here. So I'm almost confident. I hope that Pat didn't make this a pre-snap read. Pat need to read this out.
Right.
And see what this guy's going to do and then do it on him. So let me see what he does here. See, Pat made his mind up. He made his mind up to throw it. See, this guy's too close. And now, we still get a little bit out of it because it got missed. But in a perfect world, Pat should have stuck this ball in. Mm-hmm. He should have stuck it in and read it at this point. He should have read it after the top. Now, if this guy chases, now if that guy chased, now he pull it and go right at him. He goes right at him. If this guy keeps vacating like this, he hits the alley and run. If he comes to you, you throw the ball. Yeah.
Both receivers up top were too tight. Is that what you'd say? Even the outside guys set it too tight.
Yeah, they're too tight. But I feel they should be wide. Especially this was the call. We didn't check to this. That was the pre-snap call.
Lippert Stadium, huh?
Yeah.
They just put this in, didn't they?
Yeah.
Yeah, they just put this in. That guy's a nice guy. I feel his name D'Angelo. He seemed like a really good guy. Seemed like it. See, that should have been a read right there. That should have been a read on him.
All right, let's just talk about, let's say that should have been a read.
Yeah.
But
Because how tight the receiver
he
is.
still may end up throwing the bubble based upon.
Yeah, because
how
at
that
this
guy
point, at that point right there, when he take off to hit this lane,
reacts. Right.
that guy may have come to him. then he still just throws the ball out. It's a good rule for college that your lineman can be all downfield as long as you throw the ball behind the line of scrimmage. You know, you couldn't do that if, you know, the rule was you can't be down the field, but,
Once he attacks the line, are you asking the quarterback here to flip his hips and get going there, or is he just really tossing it out there? Or
he's
do you
just
not
really
talk about-
tossing it out there, yeah. See, because it's easier both ways. He's a lefty, but he just starts and just throw it.
Yeah.
A right-hander just gives
Just
it
get
to
it
you.
out.
Let me ask you a personnel question. You've got a kid, whether he's in your program or recruit, that's a great runner. 4.55 guy, 4.6 guy, 6'2", and he's a good thrower, but not a great runner. You say, I gotta get that guy on the field?
No question, yeah. Yeah. Now, this could be, I mean, if you're looking at this, what do you think? I mean, if I'm the quarterback here, I'm saying pre-snap I could throw it. I like the look. Take it, you know, run away from him. Or if I'm unsure, I'll go ahead and read it out.
Now, no matter what, you're still gonna get a play action fake out of it because the offensive line's blocking zone.
Yeah, the back,
And the running back's running zone.
he's expecting to get it every time.
So you're getting a play action deal out of it no matter what.
Yes, yes. And he, you know, old Willie boy was saying, man, he kept throwing that bubble on me. Well, the truth of it was, we wasn't calling the bubble. Well, we was calling the bubble, but it was part of the run play. It was, hey, you make your mind up. Now, like I said, I just want to reiterate this because if you don't trust this guy, you can make the calls for him. You can say give, which automatically means read, you know, or you can say bubble. You can tell him which one to do, you know, or you can give him read it out, you know, meaning all three of them. You know, I trust Pat, then I just let him do it.
Now, you assume you're gonna get some type of soft coverage based on the premise that nobody wants to play too deep against a
Yes.
spread run team.
Right, because if you do get too deep, we've told them, think run, read, just hand it off and read it, you know. Cover four is a little different, but you still at least got soft coverage, so he can just make his mind to throw the ball.
Now you're running, the tailback here is, your superback's running belly here, is that accurate?
He's running belly. These
Now,
are
do you change his alignment?
Yeah, I would
If you're
definitely-
running zone, because
Oh,
it's a
yeah,
wider
it's-
play, you move him up, or?
it's toe to toe.
Right.
Belly's a yard deeper than the quarterback. And we do enough stuff from this alignment that it's not predictable. I mean, we run screens, we run some 60 drop back protection stuff. We just tell them to do enough from it. And in the beginning, I test my guys. I let them mix it up. I said, you guys mix it up. Just make sure you're not in belly alignment, only on belly. And they do a good job of it. Now, this should be zone. It should be zone. Oh, I don't know what that is.
Nah,
Oh, that's y'all up there. You can't see this. I don't know if he read it out or did he just drew it. Okay, there we go. Like that. But this guy's gonna take this is belly. He's just not deep enough.
Okay, this is just subtleties here, Calvin, but you're saying he just threw it, but he ain't gonna go much more than one step and throw it on this one, right?
No, not against our defense. I'm gonna tell you when you get it the most against odd front teams, where it's it takes a little bit more time for that guy to get. You'll see him come downhill a little bit more versus our teams.
I would assume odd front teams give you more problems overall.
Overall, it does. That's why we run it. That's exactly why we run it. Stop the spread.
Do you use a like a 4-yard rule to tell the quarterback if he was right to run the bubble? If we got 4, you're good. I mean, you know, what do you use as a kind of qualifier as to whether or not he made a right decision?
We really hadn't done that. We just, you know, we really had to put a number on it.
Right,
To be honest
I got
with you, we just talk about whether he made the right decision or not. You know. Oh man.
This
Now-
looks like it's pre-snap,
This looks like he made his mind up pre-snap here.
because if he was reading the
Right.
end, you'd think he'd give it here,
You
right?
think here, let me see what the end does. Yeah, he would give it. He would give it out. And I got a bunch of those on the tape.
Yeah.
When he actually read the end.
Now, if you're in a 2x2, does the typical zone blitz give you problems?
No, not.
You feel like you're gonna get 5 yards in the bubble anyway?
Yeah, we have not had a whole lot of problems on this.
I mean, he's unblocked, agreed.
Yeah,
The
but
safety,
yeah,
as
but
they spin.
we haven't because you know, and maybe it's because of the zone and of the belly, but we find a lot of teams, their eyes are, I mean, they ain't even thinking about the bubble a lot of times, even on the zone blitz. Now, we see the zone blitz alignment, we like the zone. I may check that to the zone blitz. We like to run right into the zone blitz. That's-
I don't want to get ahead of myself on that one, but are you saying that you think the cutback is going to come before weak side, the inside linebacker or the outside linebacker can get there?
No, it won't be a zone with the back, it'll be zone quarterback.
Right, but you think the quarterback's going to beat that guy to the? I mean, if you're
Kind of in between.
On the
in
straight
between the
zone?
two?
On the straight
If you get a
zone.
zone blitz, if it goes from, they spin it,
Mhm.
between the outside backer and inside backer,
That's
where do you
the one
think the
we
ball's
like.
going to hit?
Right in the C gap, you know, the phantom C gap.
Phantom C back with the quarterback or
With the
runner?
quarterback,
Okay.
because we pass it off. Tackle pass it off, take that first back, and we kick
Right,
out.
right.
We've got some big ones that way now. We wish we see.
So
zone
kind of
blitz.
in between those guys.
Right in between it.
Right.
Yeah, that's the beauty of adding that quarterback as, now you can run that one back, but you can do it on quarterback.
Mhm.
And we love it. I see that zone blitz coming up. That's automatic. That's, you know, all we'll check verticals. You know, one of our answers to zone blitz is verticals, of the zone, you know, so we study, we always make a wave blitz tape. We call it wave blitz. And we study it to get the look, and we almost could tell when it's coming. They have to give it away, you know, we almost could tell. We got checks for it, you know. Now, if it's late in the cadence, they tricked us, then he just got to go through his progression, and sometimes they get us, you know, but he just got to go through his regular read progression and try to hand that thing off. Teams are a little bit afraid to zone blitzes anymore because of those checks we've always had to be able to go right into it and hurt it.
If you've got read bubble on though, my question is, if you get an 8-man front
Mm-hmm.
and you know, for the most part, you're going to be, if it's middle open, and you get the linebacker coming, are you going to go to tell him to go to bubble or keep it?
I'm gonna tell him to play off where the guy's coming. Like if he were to come now and they slant it back and bring it, I'm gonna tell him to go right at him and make a decision. See, he may draw him right to him and then they'll still throw the bubble, or he may try to widen. You know, we talked about doing this at one time. We talked about, and I'm not getting ahead, but we talked about saying if they trick us in zone blitzes, automatically balking. You know. Meaning, if you get saw covered, you go take the first threat, and that's balk for us. One is bubble, where you block man on and run away from the inside guy. One is like arc, where balk is the combination of the bubble with the arc. So we started to tell him to push crack him versus wave blitz and stuff like that. But then I decided to just run right at him and still make that. This is a 3x1, so it's a little bit different. But just go right at him and make him make the decision and throw the bubble. It's just an option play, but you're destroying the bubble, you know, off the overhang. You know what I mean? Now, so because we feel because of the way we I guess I got to backtrack to explain. One of the reasons on zone bubble is a little tougher than belly bubble, because on belly bubble, if they wave us, right, he's supposed to go right downhill and make himself get tackled, you know. So you take care of one, the overhang, you got to run right out and just make him make a decision. Zone bubble, you kind of lose this guy because he's going to cross. But the way we block the zone in the belly, we're going to let him go anyway and take the first inside blitzer.
So have
So
your
you only
tackle
got
just
one.
kind of, as he goes,
Yeah,
turn back out on the
exactly.
inside.
That's
blitzer
part of his
and
read.
Let the end chase,
Exactly.
basically.
That's exactly right. And that's why it is so important in it, because we got to take one of the guys off. Versus when we work our wave blitz stuff, we work on passing it all off. to take one out, even the 70 protection. If we 1-2, we'll slam that guy and bring the tackle right back for him. Now, we don't know that in the backfield. So he sets for his 1-2, and the minute he sees the tackle slam, he just turns out on number 2. So one of the checks is just, to protect it with the 6-man and run verticals because you got seams. In the zone and belly bubble, we just hope to live with us being able to handle the first blitzer so we can take the second one with the quarterback. So it really have never really been a problem. And I guess we've been lucky because we haven't called to play versus that way blitz a lot. Because the time we've gotten a blitz, we've seen it and checked out of it. But we always talk in terms of what if. They got us, and we didn't see it coming. So we just don't run right at the guy. And don't lose too many yards if it just blows up in our face. Now these are all three options. I mean, he can hand it, he can run, he can throw it.
Okay, run it back once, please. Okay. You say you think he pre-snapped or post-snapped this?
I think he pre-snapped. Pat's a very, and this is on by the way, not better. Pat's a very confident, sure. I would be in the meetings go, Pat, you pre-snap this, golly, this is a little tough, guys walking down on him. But Pat's a kind of cocky kid. He was a coach. That's one-on-one with Darius. I knew he's a very smart kid, and he knew, because I'm going to be honest with you, right here in my mind, I'm thinking, ain't no way he's coming. I mean, ain't got nobody on the top of him. So I thought Pat was wrong, and I told Pat, you got to read this out right here because ain't nothing telling you this guy's coming. He's on him, so he can, easily just run in his hip and get him. There's nothing over the top that's telling you, so you got to see the whole thing. When this guy was here, yeah, I could see you saying, okay, I'm going to throw it. But the minute you saw this guy walk down, ain't nothing over the top of him. It ain't automatic that he's coming. So you better read this one out. I want him to read this one out.
And again, if he read it, he probably would have handed it because he ends up squeezing.
Because it ends up the field.
Right.
That's exactly right. And I tell these guys to run the play as if you have the ball. I mean, you make your same read, he probably got low for that. But these guys have to run the play as if they have the ball. His read's 1-2. He should be running it like a 1-2 read. Because we got to get these guys. I mean, they got to think we run the zone every time, or the belly every time, these two. Plus, this is what I show Pat all the time. By him not reading it out, he stopped quicker to go back. If you just buckle it in there and ride it a little bit, just not a lot, just ride it a little bit, then do it, then, he's out of the pitch even more. See, this is the adjustment Georgia made in the bowl game. This is the adjustment they made. They started keeping them kind of in the gray area, but they just started running him down. Now I wish, and we already done talked about this, we added a play action off of this bubble zone now. Because, golly, look behind that. I mean,
Just got to run the post.
yeah. The study we have seen tells you this. It tells you that with two high safety, you got the curl every time off this action. Single high safety, you got the seam every time off this action. Every time. All you got to do is show this. If you run this enough and show it and they start adjusting like this, you can do that action right there and do anything you want with this guy.
Calvin, my question is, why is he even throwing this if this is a read?
Because in his mind, it's a pre-snap read to throw the ball. In his mind.
Not a good read in this case.
Right, no. And that's what I mean. I'm trying to trust the kid. That's what I mean when I say you could dictate it. I could have went read, now he has to read it. He's got to read the end and then go to the next steps. I could take that completely out of his hands. And all I got to do is when he looked right here, and I could have helped him more, but I want him to grow a little bit. Like right here, I'm looking saying, read that shit out. I'm sorry. read that out, you know, right? But when he looked right there, see him look. When he looked right there, I should have been going read it. I should have been telling him to read it. Take that decision out of his hand on the pre-snap read. So that's what I mean when I say you have options to you control it. And I should have been saying read it. But this is
similar to the one you just saw.
Yeah, there's
where
nothing
he made the
telling
right
him.
read, so now he's saying again.
Yeah, you know, I mean, there's nothing. There's no reason that he ought to think that we could get this bubble on just a pre-snap. Now I know why he's thinking it, because this guy's so deep. He's saying, okay, we're gonna block him, and it's still gonna be one-on-one because Judge Judas is unsound. So the kid's not completely wrong. In his mindset, he's saying, okay, we got the block, soft coverage, it's at least one-on-one. But Georgia at this point was desperate, and they just sold him out on it. Because if, like I said, if we had any kind of play action right there, they're dead in the waters. So that was just a, you know, that was just so bored going, I hope they ain't got nothing off this that's going to hurt us. Because anytime they saw that, you know, normally he work over the top and try to go get the ball. But they just made the mind up to hang and let him just run down here. I wish we had play action off of it, but we didn't, you know. So, because you see what I mean? In the kid's mind, he's thinking numbers are right. You know, angle block, one-on-one with him.
Was he thinking there? Do you think that he was getting the same blitz?
That's what I thought.
And that's maybe
Oh,
why he
that,
drove?
yeah. Oh, exactly. Then
He-
you might be
same
right.
look, same formation. He's like, they're going to bring the same heat.
You might be right.
Yeah.
But I should have said read it out.
Gotcha.
I should have told him to read it out. I just hate to handcuff him all the time. Like, you know, let him grow and be a, you know. And me and Coach Rob is completely kind of different mindset on that. I mean, Coach Rob wants me to control every play. And I always say, Coach, I want him to grow a little bit too, you know. Because Rob, you know, his theory is, you know, I don't know if y'all heard him say this, he means it too. He ain't letting no, you know, 19, 20-year-old kid decide his fate when he's watching cartoons all day on Saturday waiting for the game, you know, playing PlayStation. So he wants to control every play. I want to let the guy, you know, be a player a little bit, you know. I wish I had to control him now. Because I was like, oh, Pat.
Strictly pre-snap read.
Looks like, yeah. I think all the ones I put on here was pre-snap reads, yeah. I didn't think about it. Because he should, you know, remember, he don't even know, and we're going to get into this zone later, because they're blocking zone. I mean, this is zone, this is clinic zone almost, the way they're blocking it. That's just how it's supposed to look. That's his read on zone. So remember, these 6 guys right here don't have any idea that ball's being thrown in on the ball. Yeah, but I don't know. I don't know. You know, one thing Pat knew for sure is when we run the zone, he's got to take a step. I mean, he almost has to. These guys are just blocking. They're blocking zone all the way. That would have been a give read. One step up the
Right.
field, give it. This is spring quick access. That's probably the same thing. Yeah. I got some more on this big thing. This is the main thing, Coach. I got a bunch of stuff on. So,
You mind if we switch gears, Calvin?
whatever you want,
We'll go back to the meat and potatoes, zone, run game.
Yes. The base.
You guys want to take a bathroom break there?
And The back lines up according to the play. You know, if it's 37, it's just on left. So the premise is we don't man block zone. It's a zone track. You know, we track it. Everything's a track. So the left tackle is going to go outside on breastplate on the DN. He's trying to reach him. He's trying to reach. You know, zone step. We don't bucket step and all that. He just zone step, boom, and try to get that outside on breastplate. Naturally, the cover down. I mean, the two receivers got the cover downs right now. Okay. The left guard. Let's start with the shade. If it's a shade, he ain't fooling with the shade. He's going to take his zone step to protect B gap and zone up to his outside on breastplate. The center's going to take his snap and take his own snap and try to get there, outside on breastplate. He comes through for the backer to try to cut him off. We tell him to run at the other backer. So you can cut him off, and then he just cuts him. We try to put that 3 on the ground. Sometimes we stay up, sometimes we just try to put him on the ground. This is the quarterback's guy. The tailback takes 2 steps. He's an open crossover to the ball. And here's the key for him. He has to take 2 steps past the quarterback. Flat. He has to. I mean, he has to take 2 steps past the quarterback. And he aims at the tackle's butt. That's his aiming point.
This is your wide zone, not your belly.
This is our wide zone. His reads.
Excuse me, Calvin.
Yes.
Any point is the butt of the tackle, you
The
said?
butt of the tackle. He's trying to run down. This is what I tell. Run the heels of the tackle down. Run his heels down. You take 2 steps past the quarterback, and then you try to run his heels down. His butt. That's his aiming point. So if that tackle's way out here, he's still way, after them 2 steps, he's right on his butt. That's what he's aiming at.
Now, is that a fixed aiming point? Because obviously, the original track is the butt of the offensive tackle. Does it stay the butt off the tackle as he runs? Do you try to run him down, or are you running the original
We
track?
try to run him down.
Because you're chasing the tackle.
We chasing him. I tell him he chasing. He is chasing it. And the reason we do that is because the zone play, the way we run it, these are the guys that make the plays, those 2 backers. So the minute, if we don't, the minute he turns down, he's going to stop to come back. So we want him flowing. We want him chasing. So we make him flow. We try to make him flow. So we tell him, press his butt, go, go. I mean, I'm yelling at him every day. Sometimes they get up 12 yards down the field hooping and hollering. I'm running behind them, yelling because they made the wrong read. Because if you don't stay consistent with the back, you ain't going to be consistent on the zone. You can't celebrate a great run if his read was wrong, because it's going to cost him over the long course of, But so we make sure he stays consistent. Any questions on the aiming point?
A couple questions, just because this is different. We run more of the belly play. My question is, I can see how those are going to complement each other, but there are essentially no double teams at the point of attack right now.
The only way we're double team, and it ain't a true double team, is if the guy's in a 1. It's more of a chip. He's going to chip it to give him time to get there and then go on that same track.
When you get a guy that's, let's say, a gap player,
Mhm.
right, he's not a shade on the nose, he's not a 1 on the guard, how much of a problem is that for a shotgun center?
Not much, because we spent a lot of time on this guy holding it, chipping it, and then going on that same track. That's when he gets off the center, the guard has to get there. Now,
So sometimes if it's a good player and it's a gap but not a shade on the guard, you
Mhm.
still tip it?
oh yeah,
Okay.
yeah. And one of the things that helps is that, we 18-inch splits, no more, no less. We don't get the wide splits. So the guy almost always on the center. Even if he's in a one, they wide. So that helps us because we keep tighter splits with the guards.
18 inch
The
splits with
eight-
just the guards?
Yeah, 18-inch split. We get 18-inch splits across the board. We'll change that up like on some option. On certain plays, he'll cheat out a little bit. But on the zone and belly, it's 18-inch splits across the board, no more. and Coach Trick talks all the time in terms of one of the reasons, people that's trying to run our zone has the problems is they split too big to start with. So that's what leaves the gap player it hard for the center
Right.
because he's just got too much room to cover. That's why we don't go through, it's 18-inch splits. No more. So he's right there. The one technique of the shade is right there. You good on that? The read is 1 to 2. It's really simple for the back. He comes, he takes 2 steps past, and his eyes on the snap goes right here. That guy. That's all he's looking at. He's trying to run his heels down, and he's looking at that guy. He have 3 things he can do. He could bounce, bang, or bend. So he actually goes through that progression. His first read is the bounce. If we've reached the guy right here, he's taking it here and bouncing it right there. End of discussion. End of it. He's wrong or he's right. And he's graded that way. He's critiqued that way. It's either he's reached or he's not. Okay? His second read is not the backer. If this guy is not reached, say he's running, he keeps chasing this down, and then he thinks bang right there. Remember, he's coming off there.
Right.
He's banging it. You're either right or wrong on that point. And I'm saying this because this is the key, the most important part. He's either right or wrong. His second read comes on the second down lineman. If the second down lineman is not reached, he's running, but the center's on him, and he's in the lane, that's where his bend comes. It's here, just like that, and then when that comes, it's here. It's not, we do not bend back. It is right off his butt. It's right there. And that's how he's good every single time, Coach. That's how he's good.
Okay, just to go back, he's reached, we bounce, we run the C gap.
Yes.
He's running, not reached, we bang it into the B gap.
Yep.
He's running, we start to bang into the B gap, and the A gap player becomes a threat, we bend it back
Bend it back.
into what in effect is a very,
It's wide.
it's a very wide
Yeah.
backside A gap.
Yes. But it's amazing when you watch this.
He still stays on
That
track.
backside A gap, and I've shown him, that backside A gap has almost hit like he's on a straight line.
Right.
It's now 5 yards wide.
Yeah. That's the control. The only way teams have hurt us is this part of it. Him just getting and running them down as he's making that read. But that's why the quarterback handles him. To do that, then he's right where he left from. Now, here's the deal. Here's the biggest part of the play. Biggest part of the play. Can I get into since we're talking about it, Can I get into the scrape?
In just 1 second,
Okay.
Kelvin. I'm assuming you call this a bend back, so you don't have the tailbacks cutting this thing back. And you don't have
Right.
violent cuts. It's
Right.
just
That's exactly right. Because I want him to know the difference between cutting it back and just winding it, just bend. That's why I'm talking in terms of bending it. I mean, if he do that, he's wrong.
Yeah, we don't
Yeah,
say cut back either. It's,
right. For the same reasons, but yeah, it's no. I don't want you cutting it back. Just and that's another reason why. That's another reason why I like him on the heels of the tackle when he do it. It kind of it's hard. Just a wind back in there.
Kelvin, if you had to guess off the top of your head, how often does the ball go into the C gap and you get him reached? How often is it a bang play, and how often is it a bend play?
Ooh, that's a good question.
I mean, once you do it, the cut.
It's probably a bang, probably 50% of the time, and about 25% on the other two. Because what you get a lot is it's bounced because of this sometimes. To stop it, a lot of times teams do that, even front side. But the way, that's why we don't man block it. But the way we teach it is the tackle, you would never see, or you should never see the tackle ever turning back for him. Once that guy crosses his face, I have nothing to do with him. Nothing to do with him. It's the guard's guy. That's why the guard take that zone step here, boom, he takes it right over, and he comes right off on him.
Okay, knowing that this is your play to the A-gap defender, what is their answer, and how much did they disguise which way they're going to set the A-gap play?
We get a lot, and that's why it's two part right here. The first answer is that to try to clamp it off and get penetration in that. You try to clamp it off, get inside shoulder and go up the field. Again, because of 18-inch splits, there's not a lot of room for him to do that. That's why we don't get the wide splits. The second answer, that's the first answer.
So obviously that's not a problem.
That have not been a problem. That's been easy. We hope they do that. I mean, our offensive line coach started jumping up and down. He sees them slanting and angle. He goes, "Oh, we got them. Slanting and angle teams, we got them." Because we just pass it all, boom, go. This is the toughest to me. But it becomes easy if this guy's right. The second answer is to cock a little bit, widen him a little bit, hold the point, just slam and try to hold a point, downhill, hold a point, to make it a bend, and just take him right, when he steps inside, to take him right there. Because remember, we're in the backfield 5 yards deep coming flat for 2 steps, so by the time we do that, he's there. That's the second answer.
My only
It's
question
just
is,
scrape it.
yeah, Kelvin, is it squeeze scrape or just scrape?
It's squeeze scrape.
All right, the linebackers.
Yeah, linebackers here.
Okay, good.
Yeah. That's the second answer.
What is your number one answer to squeeze scrape?
Okay. Number one answer. Lock the tackle. That's the number one answer. Read it out. We don't give the call. Remember, we give the call. Remember I said we give the call to the tackle? That I'm reading the end, just go. So even if they squeeze scraping, he's gone if we make that call to him. Instead of saying just 37 by itself, we say 37 something. You know what I mean? 37 go or 37 read. Whatever. You don't want to say read out loud, so you give him a call. Just that you're only talking to the top. Don't worry about the end. I'm reading them. Just go. So we see a lot of squeeze scrape teams. We don't make a call. So he reads it out. What he do is take his zone step right there. Then the minute he sees his backer going back, he squeezes it. And he just turns back, almost like a turn back deal. Just to hold him up. Just enough to make him run the loop. That's the very first answer. It's to lock the tackle.
And what's the call on that for you folks?
For us, it's back. 34 back, 35 back, whatever. And we've changed that because it used to be, we didn't like it though. What was it? I forgot it. But we used to have another term for that. Oh, it was just locked. It was just simply locked. 35, that's what it was. It was 37 lock. It's telling him to read it through the backside tackle. Which also tells the guard that there's a possibility that the back of them widen. You see what I mean?
Mm-hmm.
So there's no reason to be running in here on air. So he comes tighter. He still takes his own step through him. You see the difference? Now he don't have the full
Right.
backside slut or scoop or whatever you call it. You know, now that tells him now I'm on the 3. It's not man still, but I'm tighter to the 3. It tells both of them something. It tells them the tackle's not coming with you now.
Right.
And it tells the guard, I ain't got to be hauling butt to the A guy.
Both of them are really taking a cutoff course where they're going inside, just kind of
Exactly.
forcing those guys to
And
go around.
the difference is, on zone, remember, we open and go,
Right.
right? On that, it's more of an open up the field. That's the only difference. That's the 2 first answers here, and the second answer is, the first 2 answers, the third answer is we lock it. You ask me what's our answer to it, we lock it.
So for the backside guard, how does he absolutely know? He's looking also. He's peripherally reading the backside scrape linebacker as well.
Yeah, when he take his step, his zone step, he sees it, he comes up the field instead of continuing to go. So all you can do is run the hump. Just one step, run the hump. He can't make the play.
Okay. Question is, in the real world, how effective has that been for you versus squeeze scrape?
I don't put a percentage on it, but excellent. In the real world, excellent. Unbelievably excellent.
On the original front side answer and shooting across, tackle, pass into the guard, does the back read change? Do you want the back reading the tackles blocking on the backer now? You know what I mean?
This is what I tell them. No, it does not change. This is a bounce read. The minute the end go inside, it's a bounce read.
Okay.
Because he's reached.
Yep.
Theoretically, he might not, theoretically he's reached because he went inside. On the tackle, he may not be reached on the guard if he did a great job. I tell him this is a peripheral read on that block. That's just an in and out read on him.
Right.
But I don't clue it into the read because the read got to be 1 to 2 on the down line.
Gotcha.
That's being a football player. If the guy kicks him out, cut it in. If the guy, if he still got outside leverage, just take it outside. That's just a leverage read for him right there on that original inside. But his read is bounce. His read's bounce.
Right.
Minute that end goes inside.
Getting back to the footwork for the offensive lineman, when you're running the zone play, are they crossover to avoid in terms of their footwork, or is it just step and crossover?
No, it's crossover. It's step, crossover, and grab the outside arm breastplate. Whereas the belly
Is that
is
for everybody? Is
just,
that for everybody?
Playside
that's
tackle.
for everybody, yeah.
Play side guard.
Yeah. Play side guard.
So
Now the play side guard on if he's going to second level, he's just running that track.
correct. But basically, everybody's taking step wide,
Yeah, wide zone step, then crossover.
hard crossover.
Trying to get to the outside arm breastplate.
So, for example, the backside tackle, the way you're looking at it, Kelvin, he's treating that no different than the front side tackle in that I got a wide 5. It happens to be
Yes.
called a 3 technique, but I got to reach the ass of this wide 5 now.
Backside?
The backside, I'm saying if you put that in the same context, the right tackle, I got to get that guy reached.
That's the
I gotta
same
get him
him
reached.
going
That's
there
exactly
as
right.
him going there.
Yes. Or, like I said earlier, he just tries to cut him. Just try to run through the inside leg and cut him. Because we want to put that guy on the ground. Backside.
He's got the hardest block, correct?
The backside tackle?
Yes.
Yeah. But again, and I'm overemphasizing this 18-inch split, he don't have very far to get to him. He's almost right there on him. You know, he does have the hardest block. And that have not been a big problem. This guy have not been a big problem.
Okay, based on the premise that everybody in the world knows you're going to run your zone play to the A-gap defender when they set the defense, what is your biggest compliment to Dick them to make it look like we're running this or we're running something else? Or put another way, how do you change up so you don't become so predictable that you run to that A-gap defender all the time?
Well, the first answer, and it's the first thing I did when I got there, is Coach, can I hold that for
Yeah.
1 second?
Yeah.
We do it on occasion, depending on how good the three technique is. I mean, we played in Boston. We was just talking about Boston College, them big old dudes. You know, we do on occasion. On occasion, though, and this not even part of the offense. It's an adjustment, tricking me. We do on occasion stone him and just bring him on that same track. We do that from time to time. You know what I mean? Because there's two things to think about versus the three, and I've always said this and it shows on film, versus the 3 and the 5 backside of the play. It's harder to squeeze scrape. It's hard because he's got to be in there. Got play, or we'll run trap and other things in there. Because the theory is the closer. Here's the theory. I want to backtrack before I get that. The theory is the tighter back is zone option, sweep, all that. The wider back is trap, belly, all that. So they give.
Kelvin, forgive me, but I just want to write that down what you said. I know it's common sense. Go ahead and say
The
it.
tighter the back is, off tackle, you think zone, sweep, option. And they all the same blocking schemes. We start every year off with, we put in the zone schemes. Zone schemes. That's zone, sweep, option, and belly. For the line, it's all the same except for one little thing here and there on the zone and the belly. So it's harder to run a straight backer because he's got to displace to do it, and now you're giving up belly and things like that. So the tighter the backers, we think sweep, boom, boom, boom. The tighter the wider the backers, we think belly, trap, quarterback ISO, stuff like that. We played UConn, which you used. I think you said you used tight backers. Y'all had them backers in there, and we ran quarterback sweep all day at option. They can't move laterally. It's just. This year they changed. They backed them up. They ran. We hit zones and belly zone. So that's the word. Boy, I look at. I'm up there and I said, the back is a widening, and then we go to the other stuff. So that's it. Tighter and wider.
That makes perfect sense.
Right.
So, in a sense, because you specialize in this and you run it so much, you have a good indication by alignment when you're going to get squeezed straight.
Yes. You have the indication right there. If I get spooked and say, they're squeeze escaping, and we already didn't lock it. We already made the other call for tackle. I may change it to belly because I know they might get us to the squeeze scrape. But what I was going to say was one of the first things I talked about was that we couldn't rely on the one in the 5 to run the zone to all the time. We run it both ways. So to get to that second part of that question you asked earlier about them stem, how much do they stem? It don't matter to us now because we will run into the 3 and the 5. If all of a sudden, because what they do is they play with you, they give you that, then right after all's done, all of the fake dummies, all of that is done, right at the last minute they shift.
Right.
And so that's back when you used to go, opposite. The minute you opposite, they switch. Opposite, the minute you know what I mean? So what happens is this. You start doing that, every time you move, they stem. So we just said we got to get good at running it to the 3 and the 5.
So my question is to you, when you do your cut-ups at the end of the year, what percentage goes to 3 and 5? I'm going to say if you're doing a great job, it's still only 20%.
Ooh. I didn't study that.
What would you guess?
What would I guess? 15%. And the reason is this. This is why I think the reason is. Because teams started learning with being able to control it from the box. Teams started learning, okay, say you put your back into the boundary, okay? The first thing we look for, okay, say they put the 3 and 5 away from the back to make it tough for you. Say they just made it tough for you. Because it is tougher to run to the 3 and 5 than the 1 and 5. But we have nothing changes. Outside 1 to 2 read, outside on breastplate, outside try to cut him, chase him, come up through here, and it's the same play. Nothing changed for the line. But what hurts them is if they start trying to do that, they're really hurting if we run in belly. Because belly is slam it, do the same, make it look like zone, cut him down, and read that one guy. So teams are scared to start doing that. That's why the belly and the zone complement each other so well.
Did you ever go in having them check with each other, or do you guys mess with that much at all?
We don't mess with that. It'd be smart to teach your quarterback, but again, remember our philosophy.
Sure.
36, 34, check with me. And show them the looks you want to run belly to and the looks you want to run.
Right.
That's easy. We just don't, Rich's philosophy of not trusting the guy. But seriously, it's you could go 36, 34, check with me. Here's the looks we want to run 36 to. Here's the look we want to run 34 to. But yeah, it's possible.
Well, that makes perfect sense. Those are good, real good answers, straightforward answers.
Yeah.
Can we watch the zone play and then talk about belly after that?
Yes, that'd be good because actually that's first on his zone. And
There's
then
two different tapes.
Yeah, he's taping another one now. The one that
taping-
was in there.
The one on
Screens and stuff.
Okay.
They're watching, he's taping it.
You might well take belly right after that.
No,
This
belly's
is long.
already
It's all on the
right.
same
No. Oh, it's
deal.
okay.
Yeah, and this is I just told G to look through it. But
Hey,
here,
Calvin, question for you, just because they do it so well, and I'm not as familiar with the wide zone play. That's what we're interested in. You spend much time with the Bengals? Because, they do it as good as any with the wide play, don't they? No?
all of our background is Denver Broncos, Alex Gibbs.
Gotcha.
That's the 1-2 read. That's the zone. Trickett and Alex talk on the phone almost every day, and it's Alex Gibbs, Denver Broncos. So that's why, and it's kind of it pays off for us because we took Avon Coburn, who's a all-time big leading rusher in the Big East Conference, replaced him with Quincy Wilson, replaced him with KJ Harris, replaced him with a true freshman this year, and because they all been taught the same thing. You think about Denver, it didn't matter who they put back there. And Alex talks about, it's right or wrong. It ain't no in between. It's you make the reads or you don't. And we got a lot of these cut-ups, a lot of these stuff. It's you make the read or you could be wrong. A lot of people hate to tell they back they're wrong. Coach, I saw daylight. I don't care. Let me give you an example. Right quick. This happens sometimes. Say we run into the 3 and 5. That's a perfect example. Okay. Say we run it and he's not reached. What's his read? Banger, right? Say he's here, but he's reached. I'm going to tell you what happens early when you're putting it in. All right? He comes across. Remember, he's flowing, he's chasing. Right? You can cut the one down. You can cut the one to the ground. And this backer, say, was exchanging or he hung for some reason because of worried about the quarterback he faced. You gotta understand the whole offense. So say he kind of slow the flow and he didn't cut him off. Okay, the back sometimes sees that lane open up like that. I mean, it'd be wide open sometimes, and usually